go try to block every shot, and I'm gonna be physical with you the whole game. You know Stu gonna be physical with you. When you think of the Pistons, you think it's just hard work and just gritty basketball. That's just the identity you gotta have when you put on that jersey.
I'm not your average breed of canine. Not a good dog, I'm bad boy for life. I set the tone, don't care about no tick. Let it be known, I get my respect. Come in the lane and see I don't bluff. If you retaliate, that's on ya. Talking pundits, I hear you're ashamed. Talking that chop, you must run this way. Tryna tell ya, look at dog palm, mess around, find out, Tryna tell ya, look at dog palm, mess around, find out, For some barbecue sauce, boy, you better cough a hill, cause I'm like that. When you're real for some barbecue sauce, boy, you better cough a hill, cause I'm like that. Mess around, find out. Detroit basketball. What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Downtown Dew Show. The Pistons got another win tonight, man. Second in a row. Want to give a shout out to everybody who is here first and foremost, showing love and the support as you guys always do, showing up and showing out as you always do. So I appreciate that as always. And I hope everybody got a chance to watch this game, man, because this was a good one. This was a good one, man. I think as we get closer and closer towards the end of the season, we're going to see a team that is looking more and more like this, more and more consistent on both ends of the court. Heading into the playoffs, that's the most important thing, right? So we're going to get to that. I want to give a shout out to Big Sean. He was in the building tonight at LCA, and they honored him tonight. So shout out to Big Sean, boy. Moving on, like I mentioned, the Pistons did get their second straight win, beating the San Antonio Spurs tonight at home, 122-96. And they now improved to 41-32 on the regular season. That is a season best for the Pistons, 9 games above 500. They have not been at 9 all season. They've been at 8 a few times, but they haven't been able to string wins together after that point. So really good to see this team continue to add on to just the momentum they have, not even just from a standings standpoint, record standpoint, just as far as the growth we've seen. It's good to continue to see this team get better and better and better and better and peaking at the right time, most importantly, right? It's crazy because as of right now, the Pistons have as many wins right now as the 2018-2019 squad did, led by Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. They finished 41-41 that season. So the Pistons right now are 41-32. Still got 9 games to go. So in my opinion, this team has already eclipsed that one. They're already better than that one. This team is better than that one, which is crazy to say considering how quickly this has all happened, right? So as far as players we had available, right? THJ returned tonight after being sidelined with the ankle injury. And Cade missed his second straight with I think it was right calf soreness. I thought when I heard that right away, I thought, okay, fine. Like, let him take as much time as he needs, right? If he does have a calf issue, if anything at all, if it's just rest, fine. If it's the calf, fine. Just let him rest as much as he needs so he can be as fresh as possible going into the playoffs. Also, additionally, I thought that would be great for guys like Marcus Sasser. We saw what Sass did last game, played great. He always stays ready so he doesn't have to get ready. That's Sasser. He's always ready. Consummate pro, man. And I was hoping that tonight he would get an opportunity just based off of that. And especially as we get close to the end of the season, just giving more guys an opportunity, right? Putting games away early and then giving the guys a chance in the third, fourth quarter, late in the game. And that's what happened tonight, man. The Pistons definitely gave him a chance. But I think more than anything, Cade not playing tonight enables him to be able to get that opportunity because now you had a guy like Schroeder starting. And with Schroeder starting tonight, he was the only available true, pure point guard. So that opened up opportunities for guys like Sasser to get a chance to really show what he can do. And he did just that. We're going to get to that. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to you guys who are here. Miyuki, what's going on? Great team win. I love it. Detroit Sports Talk says, is Jai coming back? I'm optimistic, bro. I can't say for sure, but I would not be surprised if he does. I'm gonna leave it there. It all depends. Like I talked to his father, me and King on our show. We actually had a conversation with Javen Hunter, who is Jaden's father, and he basically told us, right, that it's gonna depend on J.I.'s body. It's gonna depend on his body, and it's gonna depend on his comfortability, and of course the doctor. So as we get closer and closer, I wouldn't be surprised if he did come back. And I will leave it there, right? Nothing set in stone. Don't want to give anybody false hope, right? Still a long way to go. A lot of things could happen, good or bad, right? But hopefully good. But we'll see. But if he does come back, which we'll talk about later, if you guys want to talk about that later on in the show after the box scores, we can talk about the possibilities and what that might look like, right? All right. Carl says, we are winning two. Bro, man, I'm thinking more and more that we're getting to the second round, because of some developments that I actually heard. You guys probably heard them too. We'll get to that later tonight. I'll give you a little taste. For those who don't know, Dame Lillard went down with a blood clot in his right leg. And we'll get to that later. But, first and foremost, hope he's okay long term from a health standpoint. But that means that changes things. That changes things for this Pistons team as far as the playoff outlook. So we'll talk about that. Stick around till the end of the show. We'll get to that. Okay, let's see. D. Davis says, I think the Knicks and Pacers are going to switch spots, and the Pistons and the Bucks are going to do the same. Very possible. We'll get to that. Hold that thought, D. Davis. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this game, and we'll come back to these thoughts later on. One more thing. I wanted to get this in here too. Case cracked. You are right. You are right about this, Case cracked. We needed these last two wins badly. Schedule is going to get tough. We're going to talk about that too. So anything you guys want me to cover that I don't cover initially to circle back to, leave it in the comments, leave me a super chat, whatever you want. I'll definitely do what I can to get to you for sure. All right, let's get to this game, guys. So initial thoughts, right? So for me, I saw immediately that the Pistons were locked in, especially defensively, but on both sides of the ball, they looked like they were ready to go from tip. And I identified it early in this game. They were ready. They were able to really take advantage of transition. Defense to offense, defense to offense, defense to offense, right? That's how they play. That's how they win. That's how they've historically played and won. And it's cyclical, right? These things happen in cycles. And this team is resembling the two prior teams, championship teams. They're identifying who they are as a team. And early in this game, if it wasn't for Devin Vassell, getting hot early in this game, the Pistons could have had a double-digit lead much earlier. I think he hit 3 threes and had like 11 of the first 13 points. He's just pulling up. And credit to him. He knocked him down, But the Pistons, despite that, because it felt like the Pistons should have been up more just based on how they were playing. But, he knocked down some shots, whatever. But early in the game, it was pretty close. No team really established tempo or established control of the game. It was pretty much back and forth early on in this game. But the bench unit, man, the bench brigade, as I call them, they came in, man, and they blew this game open. Late in the first quarter, early second quarter, they blew this game wide open. Wide open, man. It was just really refreshing to see that, man. The Pistons were up 8 after one. I think it was 30-22, something like that. Which in large part to the bench, they were up 8, because even before that, before the bench came in, it was still 1-2 point game. But the Pistons were up 26 at halftime after being up 8 after the first quarter. So the bench, man, the bench really played a big role in tonight's game. They're also the reason why the Spurs were only able to put up 34 points by halftime. They had 12 points in the second quarter. The Pistons held the Spurs to 2 of 19 shooting in that second quarter. And the Spurs went 11 straight minutes without scoring a field goal in that second quarter. The bench, man. And what it comes down to is just that the Pistons bench is just simply deeper than the Spurs bench. And honestly, they're deeper than most benches. They're deeper than most teams. That's why we often see the Pistons taking over games when the bench comes in because of their depth. Teams may have a great starting five, maybe really top heavy. They may get out to a lead on us. And then you'll see the bench come in and they'll start to turn the tide, right? Because I feel like as far as our team, compared to other teams, I feel like other teams' starters, the difference between the starters and the benches is a lot bigger of a gap than it is with this team. I feel like this team is really balanced, right? And that's why you see that we're able to take advantage, right? Because when a lot of teams go to their bench, especially if they're top heavy, you're going to see a difference with who they bring in on the scoreboard. You're just going to be able to tell by the tempo, by the turnovers. You're going to be able to tell, oh yeah, this is the bench unit. But with this team, you really can't tell. And that's a beautiful thing. That's how deep this team is. And that's what makes it really exciting to watch when the bench unit comes in and really just makes a mark on this game. So another thing, guys, I talked about it before. That's why I just want to remind you guys, if you trade for a star player, a superstar player, you don't have that anymore. You don't have that balance. And that's something that's very, very important, right? For teams that are really trying to contend and have sustained, championship runs. You don't have that anymore. So, guys, I was thinking about it earlier. Because imagine how much deeper the Pistons would be right now. Think about how much deeper they would be. Think about how much deeper the bench would be, or will be, when Jaden comes back. We still don't have our star guard, right? So with that in mind, let's play a quick game really quick of would you rather, right? Two scenarios. Honestly, just ask yourself, would you rather have a guy, a superstar, like Devin Booker, minus Jaden Ivey, minus Ron Holland, and minus Isaiah Stewart, and maybe even more? That's scenario one. Or would you rather have Jaden Ivey instead, while also keeping those other guys in Ron Holland and Isaiah Stewart, which two of those guys really reinforce who you are at the core of your team and who you are as a team, your identity? Which makes more sense? I'm going to leave it there. So those are my initial thoughts on tonight's game. Let me jump into the comments and see what you guys are saying here. Let me catch up. What's going on, Dwayne? What's going on, Frank? What a difference a year can make. Absolutely. I don't think anybody really saw this coming. Yeah, Mega Hustler. I tweeted about this. Yeah, FanDuel was struggling tonight. It was about a 5 or 6, maybe even longer, minute stretch in game time, right? 5 or 6 game minutes, maybe even longer, where it just wasn't showing anything. It was just technical difficulty, and we just couldn't see anything. And they had the audio, but the visual wasn't there. So that was tough. So I was hoping it was come back soon, because I have FanDuel. So I was trying to really look online and try to find different stuff, but thankfully it wasn't out long, but it was tough. It was tough. All right, so let's get back. I'm still at halftime, but I got spoiled, and so yeah. Well, you'll still enjoy it. You'll still enjoy it. Don't worry. It was fun to watch either way. Whether you knew and honestly, by halftime you already knew. Let's see. Scenario. I've been saying let them cook. Yep, for sure. Exactly. D. Rather keep the team we have. It just makes more sense, right? I want Ivy, Duran, and Ron, who look to be offensive players, going for. Yep, they will eventually, right? One step at a time. I like how they're building the defensive culture first, and then branching out from there. That's the most important thing, getting that identity set. All right, so let's go back to this game. Let's get to the box score. I want to look at a few stats here. Let's start with Dennis Schroeder. So tonight, Schroeder had 7 points, 6 assists, 2 boards, 2 of 6 for shooting from the field, 3 from the free throw line in 23 minutes. So he didn't do too much. He just pretty much ran the offense. He was steady. He didn't have anything eye-popping. What he did more than anything was get his guys involved, right? He got his guys involved. And that's what I wanted to see, because I just wanted to see him get reps with these guys more than anything. And that kind of looked to be the case tonight. Like that, they wanted to just get him integrated with the first unit, because we saw last game, right, that he got those same reps, but it looked a little bit choppier than it did to me tonight. Tonight, they looked much more like a cohesive unit, especially out of the pick and roll with JD, just everything, right? Because he and Cade play the same role as the point guard with their respective units, a starting and a bench unit, right? You got Cade with JD and you got Schroeder with Stu, right? A lot of the same things they run. So I like the idea of getting Schroeder reps, like game reps, with guys like JD, right? Because it's no guarantee you're going to have your full roster at 100% full strength for every series in the playoffs. Hopefully they do, right? Knock on wood, but it's just not a reality that it's always the case. We just saw what happened to Jason Tatum, right? The best player on that team. He just went down with an ankle injury. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, but if it is, that's catastrophic for them. So you just never know what's going to happen. That's why it's good to have, in order to have that next man up mentality, you need to have guys playing together. You got to have different lineups playing together. Otherwise, it's just something to say. It's just a mantra. But you're not going to be able to be effective when the next guy comes up, next man up, if you haven't had a chance to play with that next man. If you've only played with your guy, the guy you're used to playing, yeah, that may be a better unit, but you still can be effective with the other guy if you get reps with him, right? And so that's why I think it's important that the Pistons are doing this now. And most importantly, they're letting K rest. And even more importantly than that, they're getting wins as they're doing it. So they're learning how to make adjustments with different lineups and rosters and still come out on top, right? By continuing to play and stick to who they are. I just love what they're doing right now. They're building a team. They're working on the intangible things right now, right? How do we have guys? How comfortable are you with this guy? How many guys are you guys comfortable running the pick and roll? Like, I like that they're doing the little things that may not happen, but just in case it does, you're ready for it, right? Just the preparation. The preparation right now is great. It's great to see from the coaching staff. I love what they're doing right now. Absolutely love it. Shift guy, what's going on, bro? Yeah, YouTube League Pass had no issue. Right. Marcus Thrasher, his new name if he keep this up. Right. Yeah, he's hooping, bro. He was hooping. We're going to get to him. Booker will cost the Devil's ransom. I don't think we need him. We will probably need to upgrade the roster, but that would flip our team upside down. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's get back. I haven't seen the game yet. They won without Cade. Stick around. I don't want to spoil it for you if you don't know, but I would imagine by this point you already know. Yeah, for sure. So let's get back, guys. So Schroeder was solid, man. Like I said, Schroeder was solid. He, I wasn't really looking at the stats. I was just watching how he was playing with his teammates, right? How he looked with this first unit. And he looked solid. And they're going to continue to work on that for sure, right? I'm sure as they, progress toward the playoffs. But just to be ready for different situations was good to see that. All right. Now let's get to THJ, man. THJ tonight had 12 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 4-7 shooting overall, 104 from 3, 3 from the free throw line in 25 minutes. So first and foremost, man, shout out to THJ. He eclipsed 11,000 career points tonight. 11,000. That's quite an accomplishment, man. So I want to give a shout out to him in order to get 11,000 points in this league, man. If you're not like a bucket like KD where you can just get it in, 5-6 years, then you have to really have a sustained NBA career, right? So shout out to him for having that. I remember when he was playing at Michigan, with Trey Burke and all those guys. And Glenn Robinson Jr., all those guys, right? So I just want to give him a shout out to that because he deserves that. He's a professional. He's always been professional. The knock on him was that he always was a ball hog and was not a good, didn't take good shots. He's done nothing but the opposite and been the opposite since he's been here. So shout out to him, man. He's been consistent for this team when we've needed him to be. And I got to give him credit for that. So tonight he was solid, did the same thing that he usually does, much of the same, right? Just knocking down shots when they're available, playing tough defense on the other end, making the right basketball play, swing, right? Taking charges, just doing everything, doing all the little things, not trying to be glamorous, but being a star in his role. And he continues to be a star in his role. So once again, got to give him credit for that. Good game from Tim. Good game from Tim, man. All right, let's go to Asar Thompson, guys. So it's been a roller coaster of a week or two for Asar, right? He's had some great moments, great flashes, and, some not so good moments. And coming into this game, I was just going to be watching one thing, his pacing. His pacing. That was all I had my eyes on tonight when it came to Asar Thompson. And tonight, he looked to be in much more control. I definitely have to start by saying that. He did not look to be as much, right, moving too fast, but he really appeared to have slowed down a little bit. He had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover, on 6 for 10 shooting, 1 on 3 from 3, 1 on 2 from the free throw line in 27 minutes. So he stuck the stat sheet for sure. Did all that in 27 minutes. That's crazy. It just shows how high his ceiling is, once he really does work on his weaknesses, right? But he definitely was under control much more tonight than in the last few games. And I think Ausar is at his best when he's moving without the basketball offensively. Like, I call him Ausar, Tasmanian Thompson is what I call him, because he just wreaks so much havoc, right? And when he's doing that, that's when he's at his best. A little bit of Rip Hamilton running around screens and things like that, but just not so much running around screens, but just making yourself available, right? Knowing when to cut, right? Knowing when the driving lane is available to make your move, right? And we're seeing him do that. When the defense breaks down, we're seeing he understands that their eyes are no longer on him. His defenders' eyes are no longer on him. So now he can make a move, right? Those things, the IQ on that end, as far as moving without the basketball, is something that he definitely has. He definitely has that. He's good at it. He's cutting the rim for finishes. He hangs in the dunker spot often. He crashes the glass. But that's when he's at his best, when he's moving. And it's funny because I kind of jokingly wonder if he's watching the show, because he did something tonight, not even just tonight, but the last few games that we talked about very, very, very recently and very, very consistently and over again, right? And that was just the importance of him being a threat from long range, just to shoot the ball. But we talked about, guys like Ron, he's never afraid to take it if it's there. If it's there, if he's open, he's going to take it unless he's going to swing for a better shot, right? But Ausar, at times, he would try to barrel his way to the hoop, even if he has a wide open three. And so now, the defense, it makes it harder for guys like JD, who have to fight off 2 guys now, because Asar's guy is just camping under the rim because he doesn't think he's going to shoot it, or he wants him to because he does, but Ausar has to shoot it. When he's open, he has to shoot it. You have to make teams respect you. You got to be at least a threat. You have to make them at least account for you. That's why you're working on them in practice, right? With Vincent, you got to take him in games, right? So I think, and tonight he did it again. He did it last game. He knocked it down. He did it again tonight. It was available. He spotted up in the corner, knocked it down. So he does have a long way to go towards developing a consistent shot. We understand that, right? He airmailed one after that in the second half, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I am perfectly fine with that. And when they showed him on screen after the airmail, he didn't look bothered. He didn't look flustered. He looked like he couldn't tell if he made it or missed it. And that was what I like to see. He didn't look like he was bothered by the fact that he missed it so badly. Because you got to get him up. You got to get him up. You got to get him up in the game. We always talk about reps, right? Like reps with Schroeder and JD as opposed to only reps with Cade and JD, right? You got to get those reps. You got to get reps in the game just getting shots up. That's going to help with your confidence, right? So as he continues to work on it, just keep taking them. As long as you're not taking 5, 6 and going 0 for 5, as long as it's not that, which is not going to be, just keep getting them up. Your percentage will go up. It'll improve. You'll build confidence. And then at some point, defenses will have to account for you. That's the most important thing. You have to make the defense account for you. Otherwise, they're just playing 5-on-4 defensively. They ain't got to worry about you. Or if they do, they're waiting for you to come into the lane, and they're either trying to get a stop on you or a charge or something of that nature, right? So just make it a little bit easier on yourself and the team by just taking the open shot, because anybody else would. All right. Along with that, Ausar also needs to work on his handle, right? He did make some great plays tonight, and he also fumbled it away again a few times. You see the potential, though, man. You see how good he can be. But I think with Ausar, guys, I thought about it tonight. I think with him, I think the Pistons are still kind of learning exactly what his role is going to be in full. We know the things that he can do well and things like that, but I think they're kind of chipping away. They're kind of cutting the debt, cutting off the fat in the sense of things that you can do consistently every night. What can you do for us consistently every night? We know you can do a lot of things. Like with JD, I said before, with JD, I said that. We know JD can do a lot of things, with the basketball offensively that he may want to showcase, but doesn't get a chance to because we have guys who can do it better, guards who can do it better, right? And we don't have bigs who can do what he does better. So even with guys like him, though, we've seen him kind of shrink his game a little bit for now, as they're building just to the things he's really good at, right? And we know what those things are. Crashing, dominating the painted area, being a great lob threat, things like that. Screening now, well, just the little things that he does very, very well. Just high end, high motor, dominating the paint. That's JD. So even though he may have more to his bag, for now, let's assign roles. You're consistently good at this, he with this, he with this, he with this, right? Team. So I think and the same with Tobias. Early in the season, he was doing a lot of different things. It didn't make sense. A lot of bad shots. Now he seems to play with intention. He's shrunk his game to things that he does very, very well, and he does those things consistently. Now I think it's Asar's turn. I think now it's Asar's turn. We saw even with Cade when he had the high turnover games. Cade is playing a very certain way now, a very particular way every game, right? For the most part, he's playing very, very identical as far as approach to previous game, in previous game, in previous game. I think now it's Asar's turn. I think now it's his turn to figure out what those things are that he can do consistently every single night. We know he can do a lot of things, but maybe for him, more than average ball handling maybe is not something that for him consistently he can do without turning the ball over, right? Maybe for him it's more off the ball movement as opposed to on the ball and making plays from the point of attack. That's just an example. But my point is that we see Asar do a lot of different things on a night-to-night basis, and everybody else is doing the same thing consistently every night. And maybe that's by design. I don't know. But I think the Pistons, because he's the backbone of this defense. So maybe that's why. But it just doesn't seem like he's comfortable doing enough things consistently. He's doing a lot of different things, but nothing really consistently from game to game to game to game, right? So I think maybe that's something the Pistons may be trying to figure out with him. Like, what exactly is his ceiling? How much can he handle consistently on a night-to-night basis? And then I think once they find that, then they'll kind of pull back in and say, okay, let's just stop here for now. That's kind of the idea, because I noticed that's the only thing with him that's different. That's the only thing. And he's very, very young. Like I said, I just think it's his turn. Tobias had his turn. JD had his turn. Cade had his turn. PHJ's been the one guy that really hasn't needed a turn, right? But the first 5 or 10 games of the year, or I'm sorry, when Jaden went, to start the season, he started at the 3. And he pretty much was consistent from the jump, right? And when Jaden went down, he slid in and was pretty much consistent again. Like he really never really went through a time where he needed a lot of time to figure out what his role was, because I think he came here knowing what his role was. So I think that's the difference. But with Asar, I think it's just his turn. I think Jaden would have went through his turn at some point in the season had he not gotten hurt. Even though he was playing the best ball of his career, I think the Pistons would have continued to figure out and stretch him out and see, okay, because guys, this is an evaluation season for everybody. They're trying to see what they have out of everybody. In order to know what your guys can do, you got to stretch them out. You got to give them an opportunity and see what they do with it. If you start seeing mistakes here and there, okay, let's pull back a little bit. He can do these things consistently and move forward. Next, JD, your turn. Next, you know what I mean? Like this is the evaluation period. This is what it is. And I think now it's Asar's turn as far as figuring out what can he do consistently. How far can we stretch him out to where it's too much for him every night? And let's just have him focus on these things. That's what it looks like to me. That's kind of like what I see when I watch him play. And I think he'll figure it out. They're going to figure it out. The same way with everybody else, they're going to figure it out with Asar. And he's so gifted, man. Like you see how just his raw ability is insane. It's insane. Like his measurables you can't teach, his athleticism you can't teach, his quickness you can't, like his foot speed he's stronger than he looks. Like he's very, very good, man. I'm not saying anything outside of that. I'm just watching, and it looks to be that it's just his turn to really figure out and craft what his specific role is going to be on a night-to-night basis for a championship contending team, because they all have that. Championship teams all have consistency. All of them. They all have guys that play certain roles. So that's enough about that, but I definitely wanted to put that out there, that I do think he's going to figure it out, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he progresses and what his ceiling is. That's going to be fun to see exactly what his ceiling is and what he can handle on a night-to-night basis. So the Pistons have time to figure it out, and I am sure that they will. All right. Now let's get back to the box score, and let's go to Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, man. It doesn't show on the stat sheet, but Tobias Harris is playing very, very good basketball for this team right now. He had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 1 turnover, 4-10 shooting, 3-5 from 3, 4-4 from the free throw line. I feel like he hasn't missed a free throw in I don't know how long. In 27 minutes. All that in 27 minutes. I'm going to say this, guys. Tobias Harris we see right now is as good of a Tobias Harris as I have ever seen in the Pistons uniform. It's crazy for me to say that, but even going back to 2016, this version right now, this efficient offensive version of Tobias Harris, this defensive surge, we have never seen Tobias Harris this good on both sides of the basketball ever since he's been here. Even, he was 10 years younger when he was here the first time. And he was very good offensively, rivaling what he is right now, right? On a night-to-night basis. But defensively, he was not this. Tobias Harris was not anywhere near this defensively when he played for the Detroit Pistons the first time. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. Tonight, he did a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything, man. Whether it was getting steals off a help side defense or even individual defense, just taking the ball away and then taking it and leading the break for lobs for guys like JD or or he even guy. Who saw that block? Who saw that block? He had a block, I think it was on Bismack Biyombo in the first half. He pinned it on the glass and then channeled his inner Isaiah Stewart and started waving the finger. That's culture stuff, guys. That's culture stuff. That's why guys like Isaiah Stewart are so important. He is a culture setter. Like, he started that. And guys, when you see stuff like that, that becomes contagious. That becomes contagious. Like I have never seen Tobias Harris this locked in defensively. I've never seen him this committed to defense ever in his career. Not when he first came into the league. I think he got drafted by the Hornets, and then he went to Milwaukee, then he went to Orlando, then he came here to Detroit, then he went to, I believe it was the Sixers, then the Clippers, Sixers again. Never seen it. Not like this. Not like this, man. He is getting it done on both ends of the court. Like he is a complete of a basketball player as I've ever seen. As I've ever seen, man. Shout out to him for committing to the defensive end, man. Like, he really has bought into that role, the exact role that the Pistons need him to play. And it's very, very impressive to see, man. Like, it's like a totally different player than what I'm used to. It's weird. It's kind of weird. Like, wow, that's Tobias on the break? Tobias on the break? Again? I'm not used to that. So it's just really, really refreshing to see him leaning in, man. Leaning in, setting the example for these young guys. Setting the example for these young guys. If Uncle T's doing it, I got these young legs. There's no excuse for me. That's what he does. That's what he says without saying a word, with his effort. Divine Ambitious, what's up? Says, Uncle T better than Baby T. Yes. Yes, he is. I'm like, isn't it crazy looking at the beginning of the year, how he struggled? And when he had his turn, right? His evaluation time, what is he best at? What are his weaknesses? We started 0-4. Evaluation started from game 1. It's hard to evaluate, understand what you have on your team individually, like all these individual guys, and then figure out collectively who works best together while winning. It's hard. That's why we started off 0-4 and are now 41-32. Because once you figure it out for everybody, or for this guy and that guy, once you figure it out, you start getting wins, right? That's why it's so important to be patient, guys. That's why it's so important to be patient with all these guys. You see how quickly these guys are ascending, whether it's a vet or a young guy, but specifically the young guys. You see how quickly these guys are ascending, and we're not even 82 games into season 1 yet. Imagine what's on the table for the next couple of years if you let these guys just grow. There's no need to rush. No need to rush, man, at all. So Yeah, definitely a fun game to watch, man. And be well. Okay, so he said, what do you mean Harris was struggling? Tobias mentoring these young bucks. Yeah, off the court he was. What I mean, MB Well, was to start the season, I remember vividly, he was not giving us the offensive production that we needed, right? He was giving us like 8 points, 10 points, 11 points, and it was consistent. And he was trying to give us the rebounding. He was giving us 7 boards here, 6 boards. So he was getting on the glass from jump. It's like he understood that was one of the things he knew right away he had to do for this team. So he said, let me just start doing this. Everything else came later. But early in the season, he was not giving us scoring. His shot had betrayed him. His corner three, which is better now, still not great, but his corner three was terrible. You could bank on it to miss, right? So that is what I mean when I say that. He really struggled early in the season offensively. He was trying defensively, but you could see he was understanding and adjusting to his role defensively too. You see how much he's going to have in the tank for his offense. When you're used to playing offensively and not focusing on defense, you're used to having more in the tank for the offensive end. But when you lean into the defense and commit to it, you got to adjust to how much less you have in the tank now offensively, so your shots don't come up short, right? So all of that is part of the adjustment and evaluation process. All those things go into it, all of it. So yes, Devin, you think his legs was tired? Yes, I think his legs were tired because he played defense. He came to a team where you got to play more defense and play defense harder, play more physical than teams like Philly, right? So I think that was a big part of it. And with him being older now, he's not a spring chicken. He's not baby Chi anymore. So he had to adjust to that. And I think now he's gotten his legs under it because he understands what he can handle. And now the coaching staff also understand what he can handle. And now they can put him in the best position to be successful every night. That requires patience, though. That's why you can't skip steps. That's why you can't shortcut the process. You have to go through this. It's just part of it. That's why I'm in no rush to move any of these guys. You see the jumps they make already? Just my take. So I'll leave that there. But Tobias was great, man. Tobias was great. Shout out to him, man, for committing to the defensive end and giving us everything we could have asked for offensively. Great. He's playing great, man. He's playing very, very well. All right. Let's go to Jalen Duren, man. JD had 14 points, 7 assists, 4 boards, 1 turnover on 6 for 9 shooting, 2 of 5 from the line in 24 minutes. So JD, first off, he's slumping a little bit with his free throw shooting, right? He had a stretch where he was shooting like 80% close to for the season. That probably has gone down now because the last few games, the last 3 or so weeks, he's been kind of inconsistent with his free throw shooting. Like, not terrible. Like, tonight's bad. 2 of 5. He'll tell you that's bad. For him, I'm looking at 4 or 5 or better for him. I think he can be that good, like 80% from the line as a big man, which is rare. Don't see that too much these days. But I think he can get there because he's shown it. It was a period where he shot close to 90% over a couple weeks. He didn't miss a free throw a few games, right? So he has the potential to get there with his free throw shooting. But aside from that, that's not been an issue for most of the season for him, so I'm not going to get on him for that, right? Because he's still giving us everything else. JD now knows who he has to be for this team, right? We talked about it with other guys, with Asar, I think he's figuring that out. Tobias knows, Cade knows, THJ knows. These guys know their roles on this team. And now JD knows. He knows who he has to be for this basketball team. We're seeing now a sustained level of consistency that we haven't seen from JD, I don't think, at any point in his career. Not just from a number standpoint, right? But we have seen in the past where he would have a 20-20 game and then an 8 points, 5 rebound game. Where the effort and it just wasn't there. And listen, last season was last season. Like, I get it, right? I'm not gonna jump on him because we all know what last season was, right? But it's just good to see that consistency from him now every night. Because we would see different versions of JD too, just the way he would play, the things he would do. And even early this season, before he had really identified and bought into what his role was, condensed as he may feel it was, right? So not even just from a number standpoint, but just his approach, his energy, doing very specific things on the basketball court, not playing outside of your scope, not trying to, cross another big over, not trying to push the ball up the court off the catch. Let your wings do that. We see him turning the ball over doing that a lot of times, trying to do that, right? He can do it sometimes and make a nice play, but can you do it consistently, right? So I'd like to see him really just sticking to what the Pistons need him to stick to right now, right? The very specific things that he does at his best, which we all know what those things are. Just stick to that. Be a force in the paint, dominate in the boards, be a great, roll threat, offensive rebounding, and protecting the rim. He has become a much better rim protector. So just when you stick to that, and every now and then, you can show your vision. Because tonight, guys, he had a career high 7 assists. 7 assists. And his interior passing, like out of double teams and off the catch, is very, very good. He and Asar Thompson have a nice chemistry with Asar darting to the hoop, like we talked about, just making himself available for JD. When JD is getting double teamed, just making yourself available. When JD catches and he sees he's double teamed, he is immediately looking for who left his man. So when you see a guy moving, it catches your eye. It just makes it easier to find that guy as opposed to just watching. Right? When everybody's just watching, you can't really identify. It's easy. But when you got somebody cutting and moving, it just makes it a little bit easier for you to identify quickly, where the double team came from. So that's why I think Asar is so important. And JD's vision JD is benefiting from that. JD does have good vision for a big man. I saw it back in game 1 of Summer League as a rookie, when he and Jaden were rookies. Game 1, he had a beautiful pass to Jaden for a dunk. I saw it early. He was cutting toward the rim, right? Again. So JD does have good vision for a big man. I think it's underrated. And just his ability to pass, right, out of the painted area, that's going to be really, really important for this team as we start to head towards playoff contention and serious contention for championships at some point, hopefully down the road. That type of stuff is going to be important. But the chemistry that he and Asar have, with both of those guys being... So here's the thing. The first pass, in the paint isn't always the last one. Like, say Asar cuts to the hoop and JD finds him. Both guys may shift to Asar because he's at the hoop now, right? JD's in the paint, but Asar's at the hoop. So but Asar does a good job of making the extra pass back. So whoever's taking the shot, you got two guys who are really dominant and really a presence, right, in that paint. You're not really trying to go up and block either one of those guys because Asar will posterize you because of his athleticism, and JD might hurt you. So you can't really, so it just makes it hard, split second, to be able to make that defensive play because they move the ball so well with each other, that chemistry they have in that painted area. So that's really, really nice to see too. But JD was great, man. Yeah, JD was great. I love what I'm seeing from him, and just the consistency night to night. He's like, I'm going in. It's almost robotic. This is my job. It's like Stu. Like, guy, you say about we'll get to Stu, but Stu is just consistent. He just does the same things every single game. We would see such a different approach and impact between when JD would be in the game and when Stu would come into the game, right? You would just see a different level of consistency on both sides of the floor with Stu. Now we're seeing that with JD. He's not quite there yet, right? But we see how high his ceiling is if he does get there. It's crazy. So it's very encouraging to see that all these guys, the young core, they're buying in. They're buying in, man. This team could be very special in the near future, says Gifar. Yes, very much so. Very much so. Truth Over Motion says, Deuce, who you think will step up in the playoffs if the Pistons play the New York Knicks? We're going to get to that, bro. Stick around. We're going to get to that for sure. Going to get to that for sure. One more thing before we go any further. Dwayne Casey said on tonight's broadcast that he thinks that Coach Bickerstaff should win Coach of the Year and Trajan Langdon should win Executive of the Year. And I 100% agree. Definitely agree. GM of the Year, Executive of the Year, definitely agree. If they keep this up the way they have, like if they finish strong, especially if they finish strong, get to 45, 46, 47 games, because I think they have 9 left. So they're at 40, 41. So if they win 5 or 6 more, get 47, 46, 47, it could happen. Could definitely happen. Not saying it will, but it definitely could happen. But either way, it's been a great season for this team, all the from the GM, from Trajan, all the way down, who hasn't missed on any decision making so far, by the way. All right. So what else? Beasley 6 man for sure. Absolutely. Oh yeah. So we talked about Beasley, guys. Like he's really doing his thing, man. He's really doing his thing. I'm going to get to him more in depth in a minute, but I want to start with one guy in particular first that really, really played well tonight. Really, really played well tonight, man. Marcus Thrasher Sasser, the assassin. I think it's D. Davis and a few others call him. Marcus Assassin. I love it. Tonight, man, 27 points, bro. Career high. 27 points. 4 rebounds. 1 assist. 1 steal. 3 turnovers on 9 of 12 shooting. 5 of 7 from 3. 4 or 5 from the free throw line in 26 minutes. 27. Wow, he did all that in 26 minutes? Sheesh. Wow. Yeah, guys, Marcus Sasser. Drop your comments below on what you guys think about Marcus Sasser's performance tonight. Drop some fire emojis for him if you guys thought he got off tonight. Because I definitely think he did. He played an amazing game. And I got to give him a lot of credit, man, because I've said it before, but Sasser is the epitome of stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Like, he's the epitome of that. He's a certified bucket. Like, he's a bucket, man. He's a bucket. He scores with ease. Tonight, he was doing everything, man. He was getting to that step back, knocking down that 3, but he was also able to really get into the painted area and convert on some tough finishes. I know you guys probably saw Jaden put his hands on his head after one of those finishes that Sasser had, man. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But he's just a bucket, man. But like I said, more than anything, he brings it defensively, right? He's not the biggest guy, but he's a dog. He's a pit bull. He's a pit bull. He reminds me of Lindsey Hunter the way he plays defense. He's just always in your face, always up into you, not giving you any space, not giving you any ground, not giving up any ground. Like, I just love how he plays defensively. He's a dog. So for him to be that good offensively and still get after it defensively, it says a lot about guys who are able to do that, who are willing to play on both ends. Because there's a lot of guys in NBA history who are great scorers, but you see them take so many plays off to conserve their energy. It says a lot when you have a guy that cares about the defensive end as much, even though they know they're a bucket and can't be stopped and could probably score more if they do conserve plays and take plays off on defense, but don't. That's what Marcus Sasser is. He don't take plays off defensively. He may get lost on the back doors, or he may get lost, or something like that, but that happens to everybody. But he's never willingly just not playing defense. He's always playing defense. So I like his game. I really like his game. And offensively, you know what he is. Like, he's just a bucket. He's a bucket. But just his professionalism, man. Like, you're not able to do, like, the way he just comes in, game, 70 something of the season. The way he comes in the last 2 games after not having had a consistent role all year, this late in the season, from the start of the season till now, if he wasn't conditioned, if he didn't take his conditioning seriously, if he wasn't staying in shape, taking care of his body, watching what he eats, if he wasn't doing those things, he wouldn't be playing like this. He wouldn't have 20 plus points in back-to-back games on good efficiency in back-to-back games while still playing tough defense. He wouldn't have the wind conditioning to do it if he didn't stay in shape. He would be taking plays off on defense if he wasn't in shape. That is credit to his work ethic, and that shows me how much confidence he has in himself. He knows how good he is. He just knows that there isn't a clear path for him at the moment to have a consistent role, but that doesn't change his approach. That says a lot about guys. You've seen a lot of guys take plays off, right? And then as soon they got no energy on the defensive end, but then as soon as they get the board, they get rejuvenated. They got energy now. They good now. We say that all the time, but Sasser doesn't do that. The guys on our team don't do that. You don't see that too often on his team. Like, you look at Jaden, he don't take plays off defensively. Like, you don't see guys taking plays off. So I love that about Sasser. That's just who he is as a player. He's going to bring it on both ends of the court, and his professionalism is just there. Like, this, it would have been clear that he was not in shape and not taking it seriously if you just saw him play without having been in shape. And one thing that he said is that he approaches every game, every season, every game, like he's about to have 30 minutes a night. He said that last game. He said, I approach every game as if I'm going to play 30 minutes a night. That's his approach. And that's why I say it's the epitome of staying ready so you don't have to get ready. That's the epitome of that. I'm probably not gonna play tonight, but I probably might. I might. Just that I might is what keeps him, ready. Because he knows that there's gonna be a point in time when his number is called in the big situation. And he's relishing that, he's waiting for that. That's all it takes. Look what we did tonight in last game. It's not a fluke, it's back-to-back games. He might have just thought he got one shining moment. And that last game for the season, his highlight of the year, 20-point game, whatever. And that could have been that. But he stayed ready. I don't know if anybody knew that K wasn't playing tonight until tonight. Who knows? I don't know. But the point is that he just always approaches the game with a readiness about him. He's always ready. Tara, the team call him, they call him Snipe. That's why they call him that. He's a sniper. He's a sniper, man. He reminds me of Vinny Johnson as far as his impact, right? Vinny Johnson got after it defensively. I think he and Adrian Dantley butted heads trying to chase down a loose ball in the 1988 finals, right? For those who remember that. If you remember that, drop in the comments. Your boy knows history. But he reminds me a lot of Vinny Johnson as far as how he plays on both ends. And offensively, most importantly, Vinny Johnson was a bucket. For those who don't know, Vinny Johnson hit the game-winning shot in 1990 in Game 5 of the NBA Finals, Pistons Blazers on the road with 0.07 seconds left on the clock. That won the championship over Jerome Kersey. That Vinny Johnson. That guy. That's who this guy reminds me of. Just being able to come in and get a bucket whenever. Like when you're Vinny Johnson, you could really think that you deserve to start. But when you got Isaiah Thomas and Joe D, you're like, all right, y'all got it. But in normal situations, he could have started a lot of places around the league at that time. So my point is just that I see a lot of that in Marcus Sasser. He's fearless. He's ready. He's always ready. Always. Rashad, he said, 80. Okay, that was 87. Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 in Boston. Unfortunately, I wasn't sure if it was LA in 88 or Boston in 87. So good call, bro. So that was a steal by Bird. So Rashad, that was a steal by Bird year? That was that game. It was the game after the steal by Bird year, right? The game after, because I think that was Game 6. Steal by Bird. We were up 3-2. Steal by Bird happened. We lost that game, and then we had to go back, and we lost that game, right? I think is that right? Okay. I want to make sure. Got to make sure my facts straight. All right. But yeah, definitely, guys. But Sasser's a great player, man. Very good offensive player. He's very polished, guys. You don't see him I cannot recall the last time I see him just lose the ball. He's got that thing on a string. Even in traffic. Dribble. Like, he's very, very good with that basketball, man. He's very polished. Like, I know he's not the biggest guard, but I don't even want to say at his size, man, because I hate it when people say that about me. Man, at your size, nah, bro, I'm just a good basketball player. That's how I felt, right? I'm 5'8" on a good day. So I understand. I don't even want to say it for his size. I just imagine if he was 6'3", 6'4", like, you talking star player, man. I think at that level, I think he's that good. I think he really would be that good. Or have a chance to be if he was just a little bit bigger. But hey, I understand the struggle. So my mind just kind of goes there sometimes. But yeah, next Tony Doe. I like that. Tony Doe was a bucket too. He was a bucket. I like that. Rashad, Game 5 was still okay. This is why I come to y'all, man, because y'all been keeping me straight. Game 5 was a steal by Bird. Okay, got you. Okay. So yeah, man. I love talking old school. I love talking old school hoops with y'all for sure. But Sasser was great. I think the belt has to stay with him, right? The belt has to stay with him. The way he's played, the way he's playing right now, the way he's staying ready, I think he needs to hold on to that belt for a couple more days. Have we seen the belt stay with the player after already having had it? If I can talk. Have we seen that? I don't think we've seen that this year. I think we've seen it come back to a guy after a game or two. But I don't think we've seen anybody all year hold on to the belt for consecutive games. So that would be interesting to see because, they always release the video, the content post game with them getting the belt. So it'll be interesting to see if he gives it to himself. or if he's just going to give it to somebody else who deserves it. But I mean, honestly, he deserves it. I don't see anybody else you could really give it to unless you go Tobias, right? Tobias was the only other guy that really was very, very, very impactful this game on both ends of the court. Like efficient, just getting it done on both ends, right? So what do you guys think? Who gets the belt tonight? Let me know what you think. All right. So now let's move on. We did Sasser. Let's go ahead and move to Simone Fontecchio. So Fontecchio had 2 points, 3 boards, 1 assist, 1 turnover, on 1 or 2 shooting in 17 minutes. So we didn't get a lot from Fontecchio tonight. He was just kind of out there. He did move the ball well. He did some good things. I don't want to take away from him. He rebounded well, right? He got on the boards. He got on the boards well. He crashed the glass. He played good individual defense, right? He played solid, but for the most part, he was just kind of getting cardio. He wasn't really involved in the offense tonight. He made 1 shot. He only took 2, misses only 3, but he was solid. 3 boards, and he had nice assists. So got some things done. I think his only hoop was actually going toward the basket, which I don't like to see too much, but it was a pretty easy take. A smaller guy on him. Not mad at that. Okay, I'll take it. But he was solid. Didn't really do too much, but he didn't really need to be fair. We didn't really need him to do a ton. And some games is going to be good. That's the thing. When you have a very balanced team, sometimes you're going to have games where you don't have a huge output, but you still blow the other team out, right? You still blow the other team out consistently. Like we've done that the last couple games now. And over the last, since the All-Star break, we've had more of these games than before the All-Star break. And there's many less games post All-Star break. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I love what I'm seeing. So I'm not going to really get off on Fontecchio. He didn't do anything wrong tonight. He was just kind of out there playing good team defense, solid defense, things like that. And yeah, he was solid. All right. Let's go to, like I mentioned, guys, if I miss your comment, post it again. I'm not trying to miss you. Just trying to get to whatever I can get to. All right. Let's go to, wow. Because guys, before I go any further, everybody scored tonight. Whether it was Lindy Waters, who had 3 points, Paul Reed, he had 3 points. They played 5 and 4 minutes, but everybody scored. I love to see that. I love to see everybody getting a chance to get into the game. This is what I was hoping to see for about a year and a half now. I was hoping that we would be at a point where we could start winning games where we can rest our starters. We have not really been able to do that until post All-Star break. Like heading into the All-Star break, before the All-Star break, you kind of saw this team starting to really make a move, starting to really take a turn. And really, if you want to say late January, right? You saw it then that there was a change in this team, right? But it's just good to see that we're able to now do that. We're able to really rest our guys, give guys a chance to really, get an opportunity. And guys like Lindy Waters and Paul Reed and Fontecchio and Sass, they all got a chance to play. And they all got a chance to score, right? It's always cool to see that, when you're at home, you get a bucket and the crowd is just pulling for you, and then you get one. It's just a good feeling. So good to see that, man. Lindy Waters knocked down his only 3. I told y'all he's a clip. He's definitely a clip. Paul Reed knocked down his only 3 as well. So everybody had it rolling, man. Everybody had it rolling tonight. Everybody was enjoying the game. You could see they were having fun. And when you get to rest your starters when Cade isn't playing, guys, this goes to show how deep our team is. We did not have our starting backcourt tonight, right? The projected starting backcourt did not play tonight. We win by 26. That's what you want. That is what you want, man. Teams that are top heavy, when their guy goes down, imagine if Denver loses Jokic. If Denver loses Jokic, come on, bro. If the Bucks now lose, we look like we're down our, in my opinion, our best 2 players on this team, which is Jaden and Cade. We're down those 2 guys tonight. Imagine if if Denver went down Jokic and Jamal Murray. Do they have a chance against really anybody? Imagine if Giannis and Dame go down. Do they have a chance really against anybody? See, I just love how balanced we are. Cade and Jaden didn't play tonight. They didn't play last game. We won both games convincingly. So that is what I love. That is balance. That is what depth can give you. That is why you don't need a star player, because you lose that. So I don't want to keep going to that, but you guys understand where I'm at with that, for sure. Denver a playing team without Joker, if that, yes, and that's just Joker. And listen, y'all know how I feel about Jamal Murray. I love him, but in that Western Conference, I don't know, man. I don't know. The private eye says K gets the belt for taking the night off. Right. Rest up, bro. Get that rest. Get right for the playoffs for sure. Stu hasn't been shut down early. We are one game away from a 500 season. What do you mean? Who said that? Who said I may have missed that one? Come back to me on that, Devon. All right, let's get back to it. And we're going to get to this. Private eye. Dame is out, and we're going to get to this about Dame. I did see that. We're going to get to that as well. All right. Let's finish the bench, and then we'll get to a few things, then we'll call it a night. So let's continue on with Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart had 4 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 3 blocks. 3 blocks, man, again. 2 of 3 from the field in 20 minutes. So, like as always, it may not always look glamorous on the stat sheet, but the impact is undeniable. Stu, guys, has 33 blocks since the All-Star break. That's second in the NBA. I'm going to say it again. Stu has 33 blocks since the All-Star break. That's second in the NBA. And of all the shots that he blocks, think about all the shots that he alters at the rim, right? Think about how often guys are thinking twice now about trying to dunk on him or coming into the lane when they see Stu there, right? On one play, Stephon Castle got to the rim. He struggled tonight in the paint when Stu was in there. It was a few plays. First one, he got to the rim, right? And this shot, he tried to do a push shot. It came up way short because he rushed it because Stu was right there. But it's crazy because Stu didn't even jump. He just let him take the shot, but he saw Stu and he tried to rush it into the hoop and he came up way short. But just Stu's presence, man, he's not developing that rep. You know, he's starting to be a really great rim protector. He's starting to develop that name for himself. And just another example of how he impacts the game outside of stat sheet, right? And speaking of stat sheet, though, in that second quarter, again, Stephon Castle, I think he tried to show he wasn't afraid. He got to the paint again and tried to yam on Stu. And it had absolutely no shot. It had absolutely, I don't know what he was thinking. It had absolutely no chance of going in. He lost the ball in the air. He doesn't even have big hands, but he tried to dunk on Stu. He lost the ball in the air, and Stu still found a way to block it. It was like, what are you doing, bro? Like, really, what are you doing? It didn't have a chance. I hadn't seen a shot like that didn't have a chance in a while. It was just like, as soon as he got his feet off the ground, he was like, nope. So that was funny to see because, once again, per usual, Stu told him all about it. Like, what do you think you're doing, bro? Get out of here. Like, this is my area. Like I always say, that painted area, if you get in there, if you try to score on Stu, he's gonna feel a way about it. He feels a way about it when you try to score on him, when you challenge him at the rim. That's painted area, like I said all year. That's like home. That's home base. You try to break it in there, I'm gonna escort you out of here. Like that's what it is. That's what it is for him. He takes it serious. He don't play. So it's just nice to see that guys now are either second guessing him in there or they're trying to challenge him. Because either way, it shows you that they know about him. They know about him. And he's blocked enough shots and made enough plays to garner that respect. When they're looking at film, pregame, when coaches look at film, they see that. When they watch these, these highlight videos or whatever they watch, when they watch breaking down film, they see that. They see it. They saw him swatting Zion Williamson, even though Zion got him. How many guys swat Zion? They see this stuff, and they tell their players about it. Watch out for this guy. He's been doing this all year. They know. They very much know. It's just funny to not actually see it in game. It's funny to see it in game now. Like, you actually see guys uncomfortable when they're in there, when he's in there. So it's just cool to see. And I'm going to give him a shout out because he's done this all year. He's been this guy all year. He has been consistent all year long. So got to give Stu credit, as always, for just his consistency, man. Setting that tone, setting that example, and setting that consistency for the rest of the team. All right. Let's move on to Malik Beasley. Beasley had 13 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 turnover on 5 of 12 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line in 25 minutes. So, solid game, right? I want to say this. I want to give him a shout out too. We shouted out Stu for his consistency, right? I got to shout out Bees for his consistency. He is second in the NBA right now in bench points. Second in the league. I'm going to say that again for those who didn't hear me in the back. Malik Beasley is second in the NBA in bench points scored this season. Who in the world thought when we first brought him here on a $6 million deal for 1 year that he would turn that into possible 6th man of the year, second most bench points in the league, second most 3-pointers made in the league? Who would have thought that? Like, the question is, what would you have thought less? That or the fact that the Pistons are about to win 45 games? Pick your poison, right? Like, so it's just been a very pleasant surprise. We all know he could play, but the seamless fit on his team, I got to give Trajan credit for. I got to give him credit for that. I hope the Pistons bring him back. I don't care if you double him up. Give him $12 million a year, $12 to $14 million a year to keep him here for a couple more years, because he has very much so. He has far outweighed and outproduced his contract for sure. $6 million in this exploded cap now. $6 million is like $2 or $3 million 10 years ago. Maybe not even that. Like, that's nothing. Like, so I'm not trying to like gas up his contract because I want him to stay. But we need other guys too, right? But he deserves to be paid. That's my point. He deserves to be paid, man. Like, he's earned that. And I hope that priority number one this offseason is bringing that man back for what he does on and off the court. Like, even the small things he does, that's like he gives back. Like, this dude is in the community. This dude is on Snapchat, like, giving people clues to go pick up a pair of shoes downtown that he just left somewhere. Right? Like, he just does things. He just has fun. He has fun being here. And I love that. I love that. And he's been great. He's been great, man. So I cannot really say anything bad about that dude. Really can't. The Pistons were never 14 wins bad. Monty Williams was sabotaging the team. Man, I mean, it's hard to say anything. At the beginning of the year, that may have been hasty to say, right? You could chalk it up to a lot of things. I think, I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I would hate to think that would be the case, but it's hard to look to think anything other than, bro, what were you doing when you see how quickly a JB has turned it around? You know, without Jaden available. It's hard to think anything else, you know? So I'm not going to get too deep, D. Davis. I'm not going to get too deep. I'm not even going to go down that road because that's a long road I'm not trying to go down. But I'm going to just leave it as, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is, man. We are definitely a much improved team, and that's all that matters right now, right? Positive vibes only. Positive vibes only. All right. So I see y'all comments still coming in about that. I'm not going to get to it. Y'all understand why, right? All right. Let's get back to it, man. So great game, man. Great game from Bees, right? He just had a solid game, made shots, not down threes. Yeah, he just played the way he always plays, per usual. Ho-hum game from him, right? All right. So with that, guys, like I mentioned, the Pistons are now 41-32 on the regular season. And that is, man, that's incredible. That is incredible. With 9 games to go, so the Pistons could get to 40, I think it's 48. Let me see, 41. Yeah. So, oh, no. We have 8 games to go. My bad. We have 8 games to go. We're at 73. 41 plus 32 is 73. Yeah. So 8 games left. So the Pistons could get anywhere between 42 and 49 wins, which is crazy to say. We can almost hit 50. That's insane. But yeah, let me know how many wins you think the Pistons will finish with. How many wins will the Pistons finish with? They have 8 to go, if my math is correct, and they have 41 right now. So let me know what you guys think. Will they go 4-4, a split, and go 45? What do you think? Let me know. All right. Now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and let's look ahead a little bit. Let's talk about, I know the players, their focus right now, and the coaches, their focus right now is game by game. Right? They're prepping for the playoffs, but they're not there yet, right? So they're approaching every game. That's the most important thing right now for this team, is just to make sure that you're approaching every single game the same way, whether it's regular season, whether it's playoffs. They want to start playing playoff basketball right now. They want to treat it like it's like right now. Get into the habit of playing the same way. That's what this is about right now, right? That's what the players and coaches are supposed to be doing right now, and that's what tonight looked like. But for us, we can have a little fun, right? We can do things outside of that and kind of project and take a look at what it might look like. So with that, I want to ask you guys about the schedule and the standings, because a lot of things have happened in the past 24 hours when it comes to teams shuffling, but also just developments that have taken place in the last day, not even 2 days, the last day. So I want to take a look at the schedule, and we'll take a look at some things that we have just found out regarding other teams around the league. But as of right now, let's take a look at the schedule and see who the Pistons have coming up. And then after that, what we'll do is take a look at the NBA standings and see how that correlates with our schedule, because it actually does. All right. So as of right now, the Pistons got wins they were supposed to get. They should have got this Mavericks game, right? They should have got that one, but they beat the Pelicans and they beat the Spurs. 2 games that they were supposed to get based on who was available and based on the teams from top to bottom, and also being at home. But also, this was important because the rest of the schedule is not very forgiving. You got the Cavaliers next game this coming Friday. You got the T-Wolves. Then you got the Thunder. Like, it gets tough. Then you get the Raptors. Then you got the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Bucks. You got the Bucks back-to-back to end the season. So that is the current situation for the Pistons right now, right? So it's very important that if you're concerned about the standings, which I'm not, that they got the wins they're supposed to get, right? That's very, very important. You win the games you're supposed to win, while making sure you continue to prep for the playoffs and make sure you are in peak form going into the playoffs, right? So the Pistons got 2 games they're supposed to get. And the thing that I'm looking at, guys, is that we end the season playing the Bucks twice. That's just like yuck. Like, yikes. Having to play the same team back-to-back to end the season just doesn't seem fun to me. But I want to say this, guys, because I originally... These blood clots, so before I get there, let me just say this. For those who don't know, Dame Lillard has a blood clot in his right leg. I don't know what's going on with these blood clots right now. It's kind of getting a little bit bothersome, a little concerning, because it's kind of happening a lot more frequent than I think we have ever seen. I've never seen it with these many guys, with more than one guy in a season has a blood clot issues. A lot of time it would be multiple seasons, and then you would hear about one guy, like one guy over 3 or 4 or 5 seasons. And sometimes, and honestly, even more rare than that, less common than that. So it's just kind of bothersome to see that it's happening. I don't know what's causing it. And it's happening to notable players too, right? It's not just Dame. It's obviously Asar, and then Wemby too, and now Dame. So it's just like, what's going on? You know what I mean? What's happening with these players, and what is it? Their eating habits? It's like, what is it? So hopefully he's okay. Like I mentioned, don't want to see anybody affected like that. Long-term, short-term, anything. I just really hope that for his health, that he's okay. He's going to be okay long-term. I hope it doesn't affect him on the basketball court. I hope he can continue to play whenever he gets it regulated, right? Maybe the fact that other guys have dealt with this will help him, hopefully. So I want to say that first, because, from what we've seen, just based on the guys who have been out because of blood clots, it's going to be for a while. I wouldn't be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if he misses the playoffs or misses a nice chunk of the playoffs. I'm not saying he's going to, but I hope it's not. I hope it's not. For his sake, like, even if, because here's the thing. Back to basketball now. First of all, if we play the Bucks, like if we draw them in the first round, We have the possibility of playing them 9 times in a row. Yikes. The last 2 games of the regular season, and then possibly 7 games in the playoffs. You try to play the Bucks 9 times in a row, you play a team 9 times in a row, something's going to happen, man. They're going to get sick of each other. They're going to get tired of each other. So that's just something to think about when it comes to the Bucks. I'm not trying to play any team 9 times in a row. But that's like playing a 9-game series. I ain't trying to do all that. So that's just one dynamic to watch. You know, because I checked the schedule and said, wow, they played them back-to-back, and then they may play me. So, but originally, a lot of things hinge, guys, on what's going to happen with Dame Lillard. Because originally, I was of the mindset that I wanted to play the New York Knicks in the playoffs. I thought the Pistons felt the same way. I'm not speaking for them, but I felt that they would feel the same way. Based on matchups, based on the advantages that we have, it just makes the most sense to me to want to play the Knicks in the first round, right? Especially with Jalen Brunson not even being healthy. He's not even back yet. And when he does come back, he'll have missed 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even 5. So he's not going to be the same guy just like that, you know, as soon as he comes back. So that's also going to be a factor too, is why I wanted to possibly play the Knicks. We can catch them at a time when we have a really good chance to win. And so that's why I thought the Pistons would stay at 6. That's why I want them to stay there. Because when it comes to the Knicks, guys, not only are they the best matchup, but they would also have a huge platform, right? The reason we've heard the Pistons talk, like we've heard them talking about earning respect all season. The Pistons, we don't get any respect. Like Kate talks about it, as far as him not getting calls, coach not getting calls, and then just the respect as an overall team. They want their respect. And a good way to expedite that process is to make a name for yourself in the playoffs. Not just on national television, but on one of the biggest stages in the NBA, the Garden. That's a good way to expedite that process when everybody's watching you. They're going to be reporting about this. Whoever wins the series, they're going to be talking about this for a while. Stephen A. Smith loves the Knicks. So he's going to be covering every angle of that series, especially if the Pistons make some noise. If the Pistons beat them in the first round, that's going to be a conversation going into next year. Even if they don't get past the next series, they beat the Knicks, they'll be talking about this series going into next season consistently, because Stephen A is going to talk about, like, he's going to make sure it's a conversation. So that was why I wanted the Pistons to draw the Knicks in the first round. For that, like for the validation that they feel they deserve. And I think they do, as far as being a respectable team. That's what I was looking at, how I was looking at it. But now, and that's why I said a lot of things really hinge on Dame's health, because I was cool with just giving our guys rest, still approaching every game the same way and letting our guys still play games, but not really worrying about the standings, not scoreboard watching. Just let's play a certain way and we'll live with it, results-wise. Let's play to who we are. We'll live with the results. If we play tough, play hard, play every game, play consistent, play to our roles, play to our style. If we lose, we lose. Okay, fine. But that's what I want it to be, while still giving guys a rest. The same thing we're doing right now is what I want to see, right? So I wasn't concerned about the standings, because I wanted us to stay right where we are at 6 and play the Knicks. Knicks and 6, right? So that's kind of where I was at with it. But now, with Dame going down, aside from a personal level, right? Just basketball, him not being available. If he's not available for the playoffs, and I'm hoping for his sake, however long he's out, that he's okay, right? But if he's not available for the playoffs, and the Pistons draw the Bucks can't beat us. They will not beat the Pistons if Dame is not available. I know they will get Portis back, but they're not beating the Pistons if Dame is not available. It's just not happening. If Drew Holiday was still there, they'd have a shot. But I just don't see it now. I don't see it now, man. I think the Pistons are too deep, too physical, too hungry right now. To even if Dame is available, we still could probably beat him. But if he's not available, yeah, I definitely don't see that happening at all. I do not see that happen. Maybe he goes 6, in my opinion. Maybe he goes 6, but Pistons probably win that in 6. So that's kind of where I'm at with that now. So I don't really know who I want to see. Like, and that's honestly why for a lot of people now, think about this. A lot of guys, a lot of fans who wanted to see the Pistons stay where the Pistons are at 6 and not move up. After this Dame news, that may change. After this Dame news, that may change. Because what if we get to 5 and the Bucks are at 4? Right? That could very well happen. We're only a game behind the Pacers. Or I think a game or 2 behind the Pacers. A game, I believe, behind the Pacers. So with that, I don't want to speak out of term. Let's go to the standings and we can see for sure. That's the last thing we're going to cover, and then we'll call it a night. This will be the last thing we address. Okay, here we go. So as of right now, as you guys can see, we are right here, 6th spot, 41-32, right? And as you see, as far as games back, we are 17 games back of first place, Cleveland, and the Pacers are 15 games back of first place. So we are now 2 games back of the Pacers. So the only way we can play the Bucks is if both teams jumped Indiana, which is probably not going to happen. That's why I'm glad we checked this out. It's probably not going to happen. The Pacers are playing too well right now. The Pacers they're on fire, man. They are one of the, like, the way they're playing right now, they're playing like one of the best teams in the East right now. Top 3 team, they're playing like in the East right now. Right? And you could argue the Pistons are doing the same thing right there with them. So, but the Pacers, man, they're on fire. They are peaking at the right time. They are literally peaking at the right time. I've been watching a little bit of them all year. They look better now than they have all season. Like, they're winning. They just, a few games back, when the T-Wolves were on fire, they won 8 straight. The T-Wolves have won 8 straight games. They beat, the Pacers came in and snapped the Wolves' 8-game winning streak without 4 of their starters. 4. So, yeah, I'm straight on the Pacers right now. We could beat them. I'm not afraid of them, but I want the Pistons to get as much playoff. I want them to guarantee as much playoff experience as possible. Right? Don't be content with just the first round. If you play, the Pistons have a great, and that's why earlier Carl said the Pistons could get to the second round. Right? So we got to really see what happens. Imagine playing. We probably won't play the Bucks in the second round. They won't get past the first round at all. So yeah, scratch that. But I could definitely see now the Pistons passing the Bucks up, going to 5. I don't want that to happen because we got to play Indiana on the road in that series. We're not going to have home court advantage, and we're playing the team. Like, Indiana is the worst draw at this point, guys. To me, Indiana is the worst draw. Give me the Bucks or the Knicks over the Pacers, not just because Dame went down, but because of how well the Pacers are playing right now, man. That would be 2 great teams playing. Like, I think that series will look like 2 teams who deserve to move to the next round, but only one of them can. That's what I think that series will look like. 2 very deserving teams who, had they played somebody else, like the Knicks or the Bucks, probably would have moved on. But because they're playing each other being the Pacers and the Pistons, only one can go. So that's why I don't want to draw the Pacers. Give me the Knicks. Rest Cade, right? Let these other guys play together. Let guys like Sasser get into a rhythm. So that way, come playoff time, he can have the confidence and really, bring us home maybe one game when we need him. Be a spark that really helps to bring us home when we're struggling offensively. He comes in, both teams stuck in the mud offensively. He comes in, has a flurry of 8-10 points in 2 and 3 minutes, right? And that's what we need to get over the hump that game. Like, let him build that confidence right now. Let him roll, man. Like, he deserves more minutes. Why not give it to him now? Why not? He's in no way hurting you when he's in the game. It's not like it's not charity. He's earned it. He has earned this. Not just by staying ready, but by, when the moment comes, taking advantage of it. He's doing that. Let him go. Let him go, man. That's where I'm at. Let him go. Let Schroeder get more reps with the starters. Let guys who don't play it a lot play together. Experiment. See what works best, what lineups work best. That's what I'm doing. All while staying at 6. staying at 6. So that's where I'm at. Because I can tell you guys this. The Bucks would rather play the Knicks instead of the Pacers. I tell you that much. I definitely tell you that much. So, yeah, man. That's where I'm at with that. It's going to be interesting to see. We got about 8 games left. And we will see what happens, man. But the Pistons definitely are in a good spot. They are playing very well right now. They're playing consistent at the right time. And it gets a little bit tougher. So the next game the Pistons have is against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday. That'll be a home game. So if the Pistons don't win that game, I won't be disappointed. The Cavaliers are the best team in the East, at least record-wise, right? They've been struggling as of late, but record-wise, they've been the best team consistently all year. Boston is still my pick to come out of the East because of experience, and especially if Jason Tatum is not hurt, right, too long. But Cleveland's still a threat. So if we don't win that game, I won't be mad. I won't be upset. As long as we play, like I mentioned earlier, as you play games, if you play to who we are, win or lose, okay, cool, we'll live with that. But play to who you are. If they come ready to play and they play hard and they just lose, and it's a game like the Thunder, something like that, and we could have got that game, but hey, we didn't win. Okay, whatever. That kind of game, minus the refs, right? They just beat us because they're better. Okay, fine, whatever, right? Cool. But I think this may be a measuring stick game for the Pistons. They're all important right now. You only got 8 left before the playoffs, and then you only got 4 losses, and you're done, right? They're all important right now. But I think the Pistons may because if things go perfect for the Pistons in the Cinderella season, they could meet the Cavs or Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. If things go right, if things go perfect. So we'll see. I'm not sure. My math may be off with that, but the Pistons may see them down the road. They may see them down the road. So this would be a nice measuring stick game to see how we look against one of the best teams in the East. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. So we'll see what happens. I will be here post-game after the game on Friday night. But before we get out of here, you guys let me know your thoughts on who you would rather see in the first round. In the comments, let me know down below, right? Who would you rather see? Do you want to see Indiana? Do you want to see New York? Or you want to see Milwaukee? Right? All right. So you guys, make sure you let me know. And as always, I appreciate you guys showing up and showing out. This has been a really good show, per usual. I appreciate all the love you guys show me. I will see you guys Friday night post-game. And as you guys already know, Detroit versus everybody. Peace.